Well, hey, Vision, I am so glad that you have chosen to spend time with us on Mother's Day. Before I jump into the message, I want to let you know if you're a mom and you did not get a yellow little card with a number on it, you got to have one. So, Mike over here, if you would stand up, he's got this bucket. And if you did not get a yellow one with a number on it, raise your hand so we can get it to you, because I need your involvement in this message. So you're going to pass those out. While they're doing that, I want to tell you guys about this series we're going through, Christian Atheist. And you say, man, that's really strange, putting those two terms together, Christian and atheist. We've been talking for 3 weeks. This is part 4, and I know I've been enjoying reading the book. I keep hearing from people that are reading it, going through stuff in this book that hits home. Let me tell you, if you don't have a copy of it, we would love to give you one. And after the service, you can stop by the Connection Center, give us your address, and we will mail you for free a copy of this book that's basically talking about this paradox between somebody, we got one more up here, guys. Come, okay? This paradox between believing in God, but during the week, do we really live like it? Do we live differently during the week than on Sunday? We say, God, I believe in you, I'm going to follow you, I'm going to live for you, and then during the week, things, honestly, they kind of get derailed a little bit. And if we're all going to be authentic here, we'd say, yeah, that's kind of me in my week. Sometimes it's a lot, sometimes it's a little. So we're digging into it, caring for each other lovingly in this topic, okay? Now, let me tell you about this guy Solomon before I talk to the moms. This guy Solomon, he wrote in the Bible a couple different letters, a couple different books, and 2 of them we're going to look at today to pull some rich truths out of. One is Proverbs, which talks about wisdom, about truly making wise choices. That literally, if you could look at your life and see there's different choices, there's different pathways, there's different things you can do, and God knows the most wise choices, gives us wisdom. The other book is Ecclesiastes. And in that book, he talks about kind of the philosophy of life and really like what matters in life. Does life even matter? What is meaningless? So if we got any others with cards that need a number, go ahead and get those. Great. And with this guy Solomon, as he talks in Proverbs and Ecclesiastes about the meaning of life, we're going to talk today about happiness. Now, Mike, if you would come on up here, and I'm going to need some help in this. So ladies, here's my offer. If I call out your number, and I'm going to need 3, if you'd be willing to come up on stage and be a part of a simple game we're going to do. Now, I promise you, we won't embarrass you. You won't eat anything nasty. This isn't student ministry, okay? I promise you that. You will not be embarrassed, but you'll have a chance to win a gift card. And actually, the gift card we're giving away is to go shopping. So if your number gets called, now if you don't want to do that and we call your number, you just kind of sit there like, no, that's not my number. Okay, so Mike, starting off, he's got 3 of them here. Number 9, if you are willing to be a part of it with us, number 9, if you would kind of raise your hand. Number 9, are you out there? Number 9 over there. Okay, you want to come on up? And I think she needs, Courtney, do you mind helping her with her baby? If she's comfortable allowing you to help her, that'd be great. Have you come on up? Okay, number 10. Number 10, are you here? If you are number 10 and you want to be back there, great, come on up. And number 3, okay, I'm confused. Oh, I think yours is a 6. I'm sorry. Because number 9's right there, and she's 10, okay? And number 3. Oh, can we get you back there? So 1, 2, here's our 3 ladies then. We'll take these 3. Come on up. So 1, 2, 3, these ladies right here. And they go, Mike, take those with you. So come on up here. And get you a seat on that stool right there. Ladies, come on up and enjoy us. Thank you for being a part of this. So what we're going to do first off, you guys come up here, take a seat on the stool. If you can introduce yourself and tell us the names and ages of any kids you have, okay? Can you hold that?
I'm Betty Barber, and I have 2 kids.
And how old are they?
Randy is 68, and Becky is 66.
All right, I hear you. Okay, and you can just hold that there. Okay, go ahead and tell us any kids you have and their ages.
Misty and Mencia. I have 5 kids.
Huh? What's the range on those? How about that?
23, 19, 14, 10, and 8 months.
All right. Okay, and if you can introduce yourself and kids and ages.
Ashley, I have three. One's Jason, and he's 15. Austin's 20, and Kristen's 19.
Great. Okay. So if you can hold on to that for me. And here's what we're going to do. Again, ladies, we're playing for a gift card to go shopping. So there can't no. So I don't want you fighting or elbowing up here. Be nice to each other. Okay. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have 5 questions I ask. We'll go one question at a time, and I'll put a visual up on the screen. Now, if you think you know the answer, then you stand up. Okay, the first lady that stands up will have a chance to answer. There's no penalty if you get it wrong, but if you get it right, you get a point. We'll do 5 questions, and whoever has the most at the end will win that gift card. Okay, we good on that? All right, so let's start off. This is all based around happiness, because in America, there's all these different ideas of what makes us happy. We've even got shows that people go on to kind of like test their happiness or find out what things make them happy. So we're going to show you in a second an image of an old show about happiness and a new game show about happiness. Okay, so if you can, look at these, and if you know these 2 shows, you stand up and tell us the answer. Okay, so you got 2 pictures up there. If you know the names of those shows, no?
I know one.
Okay, well, if you know one, why don't you stand up and tell us that?
Let's make a deal.
Let's make a deal, all right? And does anybody know the name of the one at the bottom? The Wall. You should have yeah. All right, so you got 1 point. We'll give you that. All right, you can hold the microphone. All right, question number 2 is talking about our kids. Because society definitely says you got to make your kids happy. And we want to make kids happy, but sometimes we can get out of control with it because society says you got to buy this, you got to do this. So in terms of making kids happy, I'm going to show you 3 images, okay? One of them is something from years ago they would use to make kids happy. One is kind of medium years ago, and one is pretty new. So take a look at these 3 images, and if you know what they are, stand up and tell me. Okay, why don't you pass the microphone there? All right, can you tell us, what's that?
Chia Pet.
Yes?
Friendship bracelets, kind of.
That's close. Silly bands, we'll give you that. And how about this bottom one?
I have no idea what that
Fidget spinner.
is. Fidget spinners.
Fidget spinners. That's yours, his first one up. We'll give you that. All right, so we'll give you a point on that one. Okay, so it's 1-1. Now, the next thing is talking about with husbands. You got to take care of husbands. And, most guys are like sports. So, Jamie, you talk about Kevin, you got to know sports, okay? You got to know some of the guys in sports. So I'm going to show you some images of a race car driver, a basketball player, and a football player. Okay, so if you know, we'll say if you know any of these, you can stand up and tell us. So take a look at these images. Okay, you gonna give it a shot? Okay, so pass the microphone down. Tell us, do you know who that is?
Dale Earnhardt Jr.
That is, you know that?
Steph Curry.
Good.
And my Luke Kuechly.
All right. Wow. 3, great. Okay, so microphone back here. It says 2-1. All right, the 4th question is about cooking. Because, moms, you got to be good cooks, got to be chefs, got to make all the things your family needs, or at least society pushes you to that pressure that you got to be great at cooking. So I'm going to show you an image of, I don't know if it's a family favorite food, but it's something that you might have to cook sometimes. If you can name this food, then stand up.
Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts, yes. And be quiet out in the crowd. No help out there. Very good. Okay, so we're 2-2, aren't we? We're tied up. Okay, so keep that microphone. All right, and hang in there. Hang in there. All right, so our last question. This is about shopping. Any ladies out there, big shoppers? Like shopping? You wish you were up here getting that gift card? Okay. This question about shopping, they do polls. They try to figure out where ladies like to shop. Well, the latest one I saw said this is the most popular place that women like to shop. So you look at these 3, and you tell me which one you think is the most popular place to shop. All right, take a look. Okay, she's going to try right here. All right, which one do you think is the most popular?
Walmart.
Walmart. That's actually, it came in second. Good guess. You want to guess?
Kohl's.
It is Kohl's. Yes, Kohl's is the most popular place that women like to shop. Walmart's a good guess. All right, now, ladies, what I've got for you, even for second and third, is I've got some gift cards for you. So that is definitely good news that you're going to be going to Dunkin' Donuts, all right, get some coffee or donuts or muffins, and you get to go to Kohl's. All right? Okay, let's give them a hand for being a part of that. And you ladies can step down. All right, thank you. You did great. So back to this guy Solomon, okay? He teaches about happiness, and sure, we like to, laugh and have some fun with it up here, but the reality is we got to figure out what in life really are we supposed to be happy about. Now, this book we're looking at, Christian Atheist, let me read you a piece out of this. This is written, again, by a pastor in the Midwest. Great stuff to get us thinking about if we really believe in God, but do we live like he exists? So listen what he says about the pursuit of happiness. It says, while it is true that God wants to bless you and has great plans for you, we venture into extremely dangerous territory when we start to believe that God's ultimate plan for us is our happiness. As Christian atheists, we can subtly believe in God and confidently pursue happiness at all costs. Now listen to this. It says this seemingly slight misunderstanding radically reverses our role with God's role. If we believe that God wants us happy above all else, rather than acknowledging that our role is to serve God, don't miss this, we wrongly believe that God exists to serve us. And God's saying, make sure you don't miss that. God does not exist to serve us. We exist to serve our Creator. So this totally is going to be a foundational piece as we try to figure out today what true happiness is. So this guy Solomon, he wrote these letters, Proverbs, talking about wisdom, Ecclesiastes, talking about the meaning of life. Let's take a look first in Proverbs. Chapter 14 says, there is a way that appears to be right, but in the end it leads to death. So say, leads to death. Leads to death. And that's not a fun thing to think about. That decisions we make, that pathways we go on, can lead us to places that we don't necessarily want to go. We're going to unpack that. Out of Ecclesiastes, this book about life and purpose and meaning, all the chapters are rich in there with information that can help us in our walk. We're going to look today at chapter 2. I encourage you, if you're interested this week, open up the book of Ecclesiastes and read the whole thing. 12 chapters long. Let God speak to you about life purpose. See what he says in chapter 2. Laughter, I said, is madness. And what does pleasure accomplish? I tried cheering myself with wine and embracing folly, my mind still guiding me with wisdom. I wanted to see what was good for people to do under the heavens during the few days of their lives. Now make sure you get this. We're not guaranteed 80 years. And we're thinking 80, 90, I'm going to get all these years. First of all, who in here is over the age of 40? Who's over 40? Come on, you can smile while you say that. I'm over 40. Shoulder kind of hurts, but okay. If we're over 40, the reality is, we're over the hill. We're going downhill, okay? Now, you guys over here, though, that are under 40 are students, you're not guaranteed 40. You're not guaranteed 80. And KJ, you're not guaranteed 20. So honestly, when you think about the days of your life can be very short. I mean, in the book of James, it says it's like a vapor. So as we think about what Solomon's writing here, about the few days of our lives, like Bill said, let's make the most of them with our moms, with our loved ones. Verse 4, I undertook great projects. I built houses for myself and planted vineyards. I also owned more herds and flocks than anyone in Jerusalem before me. I amassed silver and gold. Say silver and gold. Okay, that should kind of make us smile, right? We say silver and gold. Like, man, I like silver and gold. I want more silver and gold. This guy Solomon, okay, he was known as the wisest man. Besides Jesus, he was the wisest man who ever lived. Rich beyond belief, wisdom, power. This guy had it. And he's saying, look, I amassed silver and gold for myself and the treasure of kings and provinces. I acquired male and female singers and a harem as well, the delights of a man's heart. I became greater by far than anyone in Jerusalem before me. In all this, my wisdom stayed with me. He's saying, look, I got power, I got money, I got all the things you want to have. I've got them, I've tried them. Here's how I feel about them. He says, I denied myself nothing my eyes desired. I refused my heart no pleasure. My heart took delight in all my labor, and this was the reward for all my toil. Now don't miss this. Solomon's not saying don't work. Solomon's saying work ethic is good. God likes work ethic and integrity. He wants us to be good workers. What he's saying, though, is make sure that you're not hanging your life, everything about you, on your work. Some of us will say, I got some weeks that I really do. I put it all on my work, on my labor. He continues, says, yet when I surveyed all that my hands had done and what I had toiled to achieve, everything was meaningless. You're like, man, that's harsh. Everything was meaningless. He's saying, when you look at the scope of eternity, even the scope of this life and what matters, these things he just said of power and money and all, he said, they're meaningless compared to true depth in life, true meaning in life. They're like a chasing after the wind. Nothing was gained under the sun. Now, you flip ahead to chapter 12 when he wraps up this story, what he's telling us. And he's lived a life of vast wealth, privilege, power. Here's what he says about it. Now, all has been heard. Here is the conclusion. Say conclusion. Okay, when you're reading something, you're online, you're reading it, you get down that last part, the conclusion, say, okay, this is the summary. This is what means the most. This is what has to stand out. It's going to stick with me. He says, here's the conclusion of the matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the duty of all mankind. For God will bring every deed into judgment, including every hidden thing, whether it's good or evil. Now, get this. When he says to fear God and his commandments, he's not saying, get a big list of rules and do those rules. Get a big list of things that God's saying, you must live this way, and just kind of like box yourself in and do it. He says, I don't like rules. I don't like religion. I'm saying, I don't either. And God's saying that too. I don't want you to live by a bunch of rules. This is not the top priority to live by rules. It's a relationship with your Creator. Solomon is saying, beyond everything else you could do, own, have, accomplish, make sure none of those things go ahead of your relationship with God. So we're going to unpack this. Number one, God doesn't want us to be happy when it causes us to do something wrong or unwise. Say wrong or unwise. I don't think any of us intentionally want to do something that's wrong or unwise, but life pushes us that way. In fact, in Hebrews 11, it talks about the fleeting pleasures of sin. The fleeting pleasures of sin. In my 20 years in ministry, I'll sit down and talk with somebody that way back, they started taking drugs. They said, man, I had some friends, and we were hanging out, and somebody brought out something that we drank, or we tasted, or we smoked, or we tried. And in that moment, I had no idea the pathway it would lead me on to now 5 or 10 or 20 years later. I'm sitting here with you, and I wish I could go back and never try it. And Solomon's saying, that's a pleasure of sin. You tried something back there, it took you on a pathway. How about with sex? Somebody that's not married yet, like our students, or someone who's not married now, that's single. Say, well, I'm just going to do things my way because I want to go have sex with whoever I want to, whenever I want to, because that feels good to me. And I don't think about, oh, well, down the road, there was the unwanted pregnancy, or there was the abortion. And you're like, man, I don't want you to know about that. Well, God knows about it. He still loves you in that. God knows about the disease. God knows about the pain you have in you, and you think back to somebody that you slept with and said, oh man, that pleasure of sin for the moment, it led me somewhere I didn't want to go. Solomon says, I know. Solomon says, how about power? Those of us, particularly in America, say, man, I need more power. I need to move up the ladder. I need people to respect me because I have a bigger house or a nicer car, or I'm the boss. I have the power. Solomon says, don't let that get to your head. The pleasure of that sin will lead you somewhere to where you're sitting there at night by yourself thinking, where's my family at? They have left me. You're thinking, where are my friends at? Oh, I'm so mean to people. I'm so vicious. Nobody wants to be with me because I want that power. I pursued that power above anything. Solomon says, the pleasures of sin. Don't let that be what dictates your life. And many times God will look at us and say, look, I know the wise choice. You need to trust me in this. In our home, we got a new driver, 16 years old, Emmaus. He started driving in October. So, he's got it all figured out now. He's a 16-year-old driver. A couple weeks ago, we're sitting there at dinner, it's getting dark, rainy. Emmaus says to me and Meg, said, okay, well, after we finish, I'm gonna head over to the other side of town and go see so-and-so. And we're like, no, you're not. He said, wait, it's not bedtime yet. I said, no, you don't understand. It's dark out, it's been raining all day, and you're a young driver. So for you to go out right now is not a wise choice. You could mess up. Somebody else could mess up. You could hydroplane. Say, you don't understand this right now, but we are going to say the wise choice is to stay home. He stayed home. Of course, it's, oh, man, you don't understand me. You don't know. I mean, He was respectful in it, but still, we're human. We bow up when someone says, hey, I'm not going to let you do that. We said the wise choice is to stay home. And many times God whispers in our ear and says, Tina, the wise choice is not to try that. Says, Kier, the wise choice is not to pursue that. And we bow up against that, but God says, wait a second. The definition of happiness is not just seen through your eyes, it's my eyes. He said, trust me in this. I have a wisdom to know. Now, number 2, God doesn't want us to be happy when our happiness is based on things of this world. Say, things of this world. Now, the things of this world, make sure you understand, I'm not saying things are bad. I'm not saying money is bad. But when we get our priorities out of whack and the things are elevated to the top, we got problems. This equation I'm going to show you, the end of it is happiness. So America says, well, here's the equation to get to happiness. It says, first of all, better possessions. It says you got to make more money. You got to have more money, that bigger, nicer house, that newer model car. You have to have that if you want to be happy. Plus, peaceful circumstances. Hey, you got to figure out what you like and do what you like. It doesn't matter what anybody else likes or what you're doing. You do what you like so that you have the most peace and you are happy. That is what you need to do to be happy. God says, let's see. Plus, thrilling experiences. Okay, now how many of our students over here, you guys would bungee jump if you had a chance? Not? Keyword? Okay, thrilling experiences, there's nothing wrong in bungee jumping. But when you think about how our society is wiring us to say, you need more adrenaline, you need to do something more exciting. Life is so mundane, you figure out how to push that and go beyond that so that it gets wired in us that we in fact deserve thrilling experiences. God says, wait a second. That's not taking you towards true happiness. How about right relationships? Now, this is a tough one. If you're single and you say, I got to be married, or you're an adult and don't have kids, say, I got to have kids. I would love for you to get married if you're single. I would love for you to have kids if you don't have them. But it's got to be prioritized where you say, God, you're number one. If I don't marry again, or if I don't marry ever, you're still number one. If we can't have kids or don't have a chance to have kids, you're still number one. That your happiness is not tied into the right relationship except for the relationship with God. The last one, this hits all of us, is the perfect appearance. Constantly being pushed to be stronger, thinner, more hair, less hair, cuter hair, that you got to have the right clothes, that you got to do everything to look the best you can, or else you're a loser. That if you really want to be happy, you got to have the perfect appearance. I'm telling you, that is a bottomless pit that will drag us down because you put all these pieces together and say that equals happiness? Does it really? The looks and the stuff and the relationships and the thrills and the peace, you put all that together, God says, no. There's much more depth to this life than just packaging those things and saying you have to have those to be happy. In fact, in God's Word, He says in Romans 12, and it's in your takeaway card, Romans 12 talks about not conforming to this pattern. In fact, being transformed so that you're different. I mean, you guys in your 20s, a life is throwing it at you saying, plan out your life according to those 5 pieces of the equation. You're saying, wait a second, I don't have to conform to that. In fact, I can swim upstream against that, and I'm going to be different. I'm going to follow God's lead on this and truly be transformed as my mind is renewed. I'm going to do that. We did a series on this about a year ago called Guardrails. You can go to our website, look up guardrails, and we did this concept that God literally offers to set up guardrails around us in our time, in our money, in our relationships, in our morality, to where we would not bump up and go beyond these guardrails because there is much danger there. God says, wait a second, I'm going to offer to set up some guardrails to protect you. Not to limit you, not to box you in, but truly to help you have a life that is more satisfying by guardrails we let God set up in our life. Well, when we believe the things of this world will provide happiness, honestly, what we're selling for is counterfeit. So say counterfeit. Now, this term counterfeit, it kind of takes me back because I think about when I was 10 years old. Now, we got any teenagers in here? Teenagers in here? Come on, show me your hands if you're a teenager. Okay. I wasn't even a teenager yet. I was 10. And I'm going to this event with my family. Okay, I'm 10. It's at this house. They say, man, we're going to have cake and desserts and drinks there. I'm like, great, 10-year-old. I love desserts. So everybody's upstairs. They say, well, don't go downstairs yet. That's where all the desserts are. Well, of course, I'm 10. I'm going downstairs. Going down there. And I'm looking for chocolate cake. I was like, chocolate cake, that's me. I love dessert. I love chocolate. I see a table there with some stuff on it. I'm like, there's a chocolate cake. So I go up to it. I'm like, okay, it looks kind of like, it's almost like crumbled or something. I'm like, oh, man, this is going to be good. And I'm looking, I find a spoon. I'm like, man, this is interesting. There's just spoons on this table, no forks. I'm like, okay, well, anyways, I am digging in to be some chocolate cake. And I put it in my mouth. I'm like, oh, and somebody comes walking downstairs like, oh, Matt, what are you eating? I said, well, I thought it was chocolate cake. They said, Matt, why are you eating the coffee grounds? And as a 10-year-old, literally, I did not know that used coffee grounds sitting right there were not chocolate. I mean, it looked like chocolate cake. And so clearly, the counterfeit chocolate cake, it got me. And God says it's the same thing with the trappings of life. It looks great. It looks like the right thing. It looks like it's going to be satisfying. And you dig into it, and man, it is nothing like what you're expecting. And God works with us on that and says, well, let's help you on this journey to avoid the counterfeits. So number 3, the happiness of this world is based on fickle happenings. Say fickle happenings. Fickle, that's a strange word. We'll unpack that here in a second. But the blessings of God transcend. Say transcend. Transcend the things the world offers. So this word fickle, it means changing frequently. It means especially in regard to one's loyalties. So what this is saying is that in our society today, it's saying here's the target for happiness. But it's fickle. It's changing. It's moving. The standards are moving. Where it's saying, no, you can't be happy with that. You need more, bigger, better, thinner. The target for happiness is always changing. But God says, no. My definition of happiness transcends. And transcend means to go beyond the range or limits of. So God's saying, look, you're looking at coffee grounds. Do you want to eat coffee grounds? God's like, you don't want to eat coffee grounds. He said, okay, how about a zinger? Anybody here remember zingers? Not bad, especially compared to coffee grounds. Now, how about Little Debbie's? Any Little Debbie fans in here? We like those in our house. Definitely better than coffee grounds. So you're like, okay, coffee grounds, zinger, Little Debbie. But how about cake from Amberjack? Has anybody here ever eaten at Amberjack and see those cake? The pieces of cake cost like $6. They're like this thick and this big, and they got all this stuff on them where you say, do I want that or do I want coffee grounds? And God says, no, this isn't a fickle target. This is something that will transcend what you could imagine. I want to give this to you. Psalm 97 says, rejoice in the Lord, you who are righteous, and praise his holy name. Now, this word righteous, it's an interesting word because some people, actually most people in America would probably say righteous. Man, that's like a person with a big Bible that looks down their nose at me and says, you are terrible, but I am great. No, righteous, that's not what it's about. Righteous is a word that means right standing. It means the righteous is a person who is in right standing or in good relationship with God. So this verse is saying those who are in good, healthy relationship with God, they rejoice in that. They get joy out of their relationship with God, not out of that big equation. They get it out of their relationship of knowing God. Now, we got a family in our church. You're going to see their video here in a second. They come to our church, and they meet with God. They learn about God. It's affecting their family. But, their story began a couple years ago when we were working on planting this church. They said, what is this place going to be like? And John, our producer, who's up here every couple weeks, he had told me, he said, man, there's a family I know. They don't go to church. They just can't kind of figure out one that works. Or it's not for them anymore. He said, Matt, we are planting this church for people like this that don't quite know yet what true happiness is. So if you would, check out the story of Kenny and Tamara Phillips.
The one way that it has really benefited us is Kenny. I've seen a major, major change in him. You know, I've been to church my whole life, and when me and Kenny first met, we had a hard time trying to find a church, and then, you know, I always prayed for God to make him that man that says, get up, we're going to church, you know, put God first, and he is that man. And, you know, he was saved when he was younger. He told me that all the time, but now he is that spiritual leader. And, you know, he recently just got rebaptized, stating that he's closer to God now than he's ever been. And my son Austin got saved on the way home from women's group in the back seat of my car. And then he was just recently baptized. So God's working in our home and our family. He is first, and our marriage is the best that it's ever been. I mean, I cannot tell you, we don't fight. We have our little disagreements, but he's my best friend. And since God is first, our marriage is so much better. That was when we dedicated, when Austin was little, we dedicated him, but we dedicated all of our kids, but then we had Dalton. And we didn't want to just dedicate one, we wanted to dedicate all three of them together. And that way we could remember that date, you know, and it was very special, you know, dedicating all three of our boys to the Lord. And, you know, it's not just us as parents raising him, it's God's hand on us, guiding us on how to raise our children. And that was a big deal in our life.
Well, volunteering for me is my way of giving back. It's good to volunteer. It's something I like doing. I get up every morning. I volunteer for both services. It's just something that I can do for the church to help out in a way. And men's group is awesome. It's a good way to learn men that have, you learn that you're not the only one out there that's got the problems. There's other men that can relate to you and your problems. So men's group is a really good way to do that.
Women's group is great. We just get together and we talk, and you know, if you have a bad day, even if you don't go to women's group that night, you can text or you can group me and say, I'm having a bad day. You know, I just need some encouraging words. I need some prayer. And everyone just chimes in and says, we're praying for you, you know. And I had, you know, Dalton, I had my baby shower, and the ladies in my women's group, Kim and Penny and all those ladies, they just pitched in and decorated and did food, and I mean, they were just fabulous. And then when we had to move, they moved us. They all showed up that morning, and we moved in like 2 hours. And then they all bought pizza afterwards. I mean, you just can't get any better than that.
And Kenny and Tamara are in this service with us. How we thank God for what he's done in their lives. I'm so excited about that. They are not paid actors and actresses. They are real people here at Vision with a real little dog named Peanut, right? So what Vision is about is reaching people like the Phillips, reaching that single mom, reaching that single, reaching that student, so that they can help, that God can help them figure out what true happiness is. Now, let me give you a little sneak peek. Next week, I'm going to tell you more about this. But we're all into doing creative things to spread the word about what God's doing here at Vision. So there's something that we're calling Project Refreshments. We did it in a mini way a couple weeks ago. Right, Alicia? Where we had a couple teams go out and just pass out bottled water, cold water, and give somebody a little card with it and just say, would you like a cold drink? They're like, yep, just gave it to them. There was no sales pitch. There was nothing. The team I was on, we went outside of Lowe's, gave away, 100 bottles of water. Almost everybody was so grateful. You know, you've been shopping in Lowe's for an hour, you're all drained. Somebody gives you a free thing of water, like, sure, I'll take that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to give away 1,000 bottles of water on Saturday, June 3rd. And I started kind of casting this idea to some people this last week, and we've already got our team leader. Sean Jones is going to head it up. And I'm going to try to start building a leadership team with him. So if you say, man, I'd like more information about being on that leadership team, you can stop by the Makeshift Connection Center today and say, yeah, just give me some more info on that. The next week, as we unveil the whole plan, you're going to have a chance to partner with us in passing out waters. So I'm telling you, on some Saturday, maybe even years ago, Kenny and Tamara would have walked out of Lowe's and someone would have given them a bottle of water and said, we can give you a chance to find true happiness. We can give you a chance to find God in a personal way. And I tell you, God is in this project because already we got all the ice donated and all the water donated. So boom, it's already there. You're going to hear more next week about Project Refreshment. But as we talk about happiness, let me tell you about one of my dogs. Her name is Dakota. Okay, now Dakota is like all the animals that we get there. She was a stray. She was found. She was mistreated, whatever it was. We just go up to the animal shelter, find one, bring it home, make her our own. Meg she's great with our animals. She loved Dakota. Meg was the one who went up there and found her, and she was just this scrawny little black lab that on her little card it said needs help with on leash. So you're like, okay, this dog needs some work. She comes out there all legs and running, and Dakota's got this thing about her where she likes to like not bite you, but kind of like gum you to say hey. And my kids are like, can we bring Dakota to church? I'm like, well, I don't know, because she'd be knocking over kids and gumming people and stuff. But Dakota, she's usually pretty much a good dog. Now there's some times where she ends up like sitting on tables and chewing stuff up, but in general, Dakota is a sweet, sweet dog. Now Dakota, one day she's up in that animal shelter, and Meg comes up to the animal shelter with the desire in her heart to give her something better. So she goes up there, she's spending time with Dakota, and imagine if this would have transpired. She's like, Dakota, you want to come home with me? Do you want to come live with us? We got a yard, we got other dogs, we got fun stuff we can do. Do you want to come with me? Now imagine if somebody walked up next to Meg and said, no, Dakota, come with me, because I got somewhere you can go. Let's call it like the Pooch Palace. It's like the best place ever, because you'll have like your own little cage. There won't be anybody else bothering you. You'll be alone. And you won't have to worry about food. We'll get you food. And you won't have to worry about running or going far to get tired. You could always stay right there. We'll have little doggy magazines and doggy shows to watch on TV and anything you want in your Pooch Palace. And Meg would say, wait a second. Dakota, if you come with us, you won't be in this little cage. Now, you won't be alone. You're going to be in a backyard with 2 other dogs, but you'll get to love them. They'll be your sisters. She'll say, Dakota, yes, you won't be able to just sit there all the time and be peaceful, but you're going to get a chance to run. Now, let me tell you about Dakota. This girl loves to run, okay? When we had the snowstorm and we're out there at the ranch and she's tearing it up, I said, I got to get a picture of her skying over one of these logs. Dakota in that moment, though, was like, I don't know, this sounds pretty good. This option sounds pretty good. And Meg says, wait a second. Trust my wisdom. Trust that I know how you're wired. And the reality is, Dakota, you're not wired for that. This is not what you're designed for. You're designed to run. You're designed to have sisters. You're designed to climb up on tables and chew on people's arms. You can do all those things if you take this path. And of course, Dakota is with us now, and she's running, and she's jumping and chewing on arms. And Dakota doesn't really know what she thankfully missed out on. But God looks at us. He says, you don't know it, but you're not where you belong. On this planet is not where you belong. There's a different way you're wired. He said, make sure you walk with me to understand what true happiness is. Now, here at Vision Church, we don't do a lot of things, but what we base them all on is our mission, which is to lead people to Christ and help them live out God's vision for their life. So when God looks at you and says, I've got a vision for you. I want you to have true happiness. And I've unpacked that for a half an hour now, that God says, it's not all about you. It's not all about what you want. If you will trust me in this, we'll go down a path together that will live out a vision in your life that will be better than you could ever imagine. God says, I want to do that in your life. I say, thank you, God. Thank you that you care enough about me. Thank you that you would care enough about Kenny and Tamara and their boys to say, I will pursue you with passion so that you can find out the vision I have for your life and truly live a life of happiness.